Difficulty strengthens the mind as labor does the body. Seneca, they tell you willpower is a tank that empties. They say you need to recharge it with naps, kale smoothies, and digital detoxes. They're wrong. Willpower isn't a fuel, it's a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Those who treat willpower like a fragile resource are the same people who blame the world for their failures, who see obstacles as insurmountable walls instead of opportunities to climb. They are the comfortable, the complacent, the destined to be forgotten. We are not. Willpower isn't some mystical energy bestowed upon a chosen few. It's a cultivated skill. It's the ability to choose discomfort over ease, discipline over distraction, long-term gain over immediate gratification. It's the steel in your spine that keeps you standing when the world is trying to knock you down. The world will try to sell you comfort, numb your senses, and convince you that mediocrity is enough. It will tell you to conserve your energy, to avoid challenges, to prioritize fleeting pleasure over lasting achievement. Don't listen. Every act of resistance, every choice to push beyond your perceived limits strengthens your willpower. It's a constant battle, a relentless exercise in self-mastery. When you wake up before dawn to train, even when your body screams for rest, you are forging willpower. When you resist the urge to scroll endlessly through social media and instead focus on your craft, you are forging willpower. When you face your fears head-on, instead of retreating into the safety of your comfort zone, you are forging willpower. This isn't about denying yourself pleasure entirely. It's about understanding the true cost of instant gratification. It's about recognizing that the things worth having require sacrifice, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to your goals. It's about building a mental fortress that can withstand the constant barrage of distractions and temptations that plague the modern world. Willpower isn't about avoiding the darkness. It's about learning to navigate it, to extract strength from it, to emerge from it stronger and more resilient than before. The myth of limited willpower is a convenient excuse for weakness. It allows people to justify their failures and avoid taking responsibility for their choices. It's a lie perpetuated by those who benefit from your complacency. They want you to believe that you are powerless, that your potential is limited, that you are destined to remain trapped in the prison of your own limitations. Don't give them the satisfaction. Embrace the challenge, embrace the discomfort, embrace the struggle. For it is in these moments when you are tested to your limits that your true strength is revealed. And it is through the constant exercise of your willpower that you will forge yourself into the person you were always meant to be, unbreakable. The world rewards those who can delay gratification. The world bends to those who show it they are not afraid of pain. The world gives way to those with a will of iron. Cultivate that iron within yourself. The journey to self-mastery is not a sprint. It's a marathon. There will be setbacks, there will be moments of doubt, there will be times when you feel like giving up. But it is in these moments that your willpower will be tested the most. It is in these moments that you must dig deep, remember your purpose, and refuse to yield. Consider this: every time you surrender to temptation, you weaken your willpower. You reinforce the neural pathways that lead to immediate gratification, making it harder to resist in the future. But every time you resist temptation, you strengthen your willpower. You create new neural pathways that prioritize long-term goals and delayed gratification, making it easier to resist in the future. You are literally rewiring your brain with every choice you make. Choose wisely. Don't fall for the illusion of balance. The path to greatness is rarely balanced. It requires intense focus, unwavering dedication, and a willingness to sacrifice everything else in pursuit of your goals. There will be times when you need to prioritize your work over your relationships, your health over your leisure, your ambition over your comfort. This is not a call for self-destruction. It's a call for prioritization. It's a call for radical self-responsibility. The world will try to tell you that you are being selfish, that you are neglecting your responsibilities, that you are sacrificing too much. But ignore the noise. Only you know what you are capable of achieving. Only you know the true extent of your potential. Only you can decide what price you are willing to pay to achieve your dreams. Willpower is the foundation upon which all great achievements are built. It is the key that unlocks your potential, the weapon that allows you to conquer your fears, the shield that protects you from the distractions and temptations of the world. Cultivate it, hone it, and wield it with precision and purpose. Your mind is either your weapon or your prison. Choose your weapon. The idea of needing constant recharge suggests a lack of fundamental strength. A soldier doesn't need a spa day after every battle. He needs discipline, training, and a reason to keep fighting. Your reason, your purpose, that's what truly replenishes willpower. Find a cause greater than yourself, something worth fighting for, something that ignites a fire in your soul. That fire will fuel your willpower and drive you forward, even when you feel like you have nothing left to give. Stop seeking external validation. Your worth is not determined by the opinions of others. It is determined by your actions, your character, and your unwavering commitment to your goals. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself, regardless of what anyone else thinks. Build a fortress of self-belief that cannot be shaken by criticism or negativity. There will be times when you feel like you are fighting a losing battle, when the odds are stacked against you, when the path ahead seems impossible. But it is in these moments that you must remember why you started. Remember your purpose, remember your dreams, remember the person you are striving to become. And then, dig deep, summon every ounce of willpower you possess, and keep moving forward, one step at a time. The world respects relentless forward momentum. The concept of willpower being a finite resource is often used to justify indulgence and lack of self-control. It provides a convenient excuse for giving in to temptations and avoiding difficult tasks. But the truth is, willpower is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Every time you resist temptation, you are strengthening your willpower and making it easier to resist in the future. Don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Step outside of your comfort zone and push your limits. Embrace the discomfort and uncertainty that come with trying new things. It is in these moments that you will discover your true strength and resilience. Each challenge overcome is another brick in the fortress of your mind. Remember, willpower is not just about resisting temptation. It's also about taking action, about pushing yourself to do things that you don't want to do, about holding yourself accountable for your choices. It's about building a life of purpose, discipline, and unwavering commitment to your goals. It's about choosing the path of the warrior, the path of the conqueror, the path of the self-mastered individual. Choose wisely. Willpower isn't a tank that empties. It's a forge that burns brighter with every strike of the hammer. The more you demand of it, the more it provides. Every instance of self-denial, every act of disciplined focus, every refusal to yield to immediate gratification strengthens the neural pathways in your brain, reinforcing the connection between intention and action. It is not depletion you experience, but the resistance of inertia. Your mind, like any machine, resists the initial surge of power needed to overcome its resting state. Once in motion, however, the force required to maintain that momentum diminishes. Therefore, the hardest part is always the beginning. The first push, the first hour, the first day. After that, willpower becomes less about brute force and more about skillful management of momentum. Learn to harness the initial burst of energy, then ride the wave of disciplined action until the task is complete. The lie of limited willpower is a tool of the weak, a justification for mediocrity. It suggests that we are slaves to our impulses, incapable of transcending our base desires. But the truth is far more empowering. We have the capacity to reshape our minds, to rewrite our programming, to become the architects of our own destiny. This requires a brutal honesty with ourselves, an unflinching assessment of our weaknesses, and a relentless commitment to overcoming them. It means recognizing the moments when we are tempted to compromise, to take the easy way out and consciously choosing the path of resistance. It means understanding that every decision, no matter how small, shapes the person we become. Are you building a fortress of strength or a prison of regret? The choice, as always, is yours. Think of willpower not as a resource but as a skill that can be honed, refined, and perfected through consistent practice. Just as a musician practices scales to improve their technique, you must practice self-discipline to strengthen your willpower. Start with small challenges. Resist the urge to check your phone during a focused work session. Choose a healthy meal instead of junk food. Wake up early to exercise, even when you don't feel like it. Each small victory builds momentum, creating a positive feedback loop that reinforces your commitment to self-mastery. Over time, these small victories will accumulate, transforming you into a force of nature, capable of overcoming any obstacle. Furthermore, the illusion of limited willpower is often perpetuated by poor planning and a lack of strategic thinking. Imagine trying to run a marathon without training, or attempting to climb a mountain without the proper equipment. Failure is almost guaranteed. Similarly, if you constantly expose yourself to temptations without a plan for resisting them, you are setting yourself up for failure. Willpower is most effective when it is used proactively, to create an environment that supports your goals and minimizes distractions. Remove tempting foods from your house. Unsubscribe from social media feeds that trigger negative emotions. Surround yourself with people who inspire and motivate you. By strategically designing your environment, you can drastically reduce the amount of willpower required to stay on track. Consider your weaknesses, your temptations, your triggers. Analyze them with cold, clinical detachment. Understand the specific mechanisms by which they undermine your willpower. Then, develop a plan for neutralizing them. This might involve creating a set of rules and boundaries that you refuse to violate. It might involve developing specific coping mechanisms for dealing with stress and anxiety. It might involve seeking out support from others who are committed to self-improvement. The key is to be proactive, to anticipate challenges, and to develop strategies for overcoming them before they arise. The warrior does not wait for the battle to come to him. He prepares the battlefield, dictates the terms of engagement, and ensures his victory before the first blow is struck. The mind is a battlefield, and willpower is your most potent weapon. But a weapon is only as effective as the warrior who wields it. You must learn to master your thoughts, to control your emotions, and to direct your actions with unwavering focus. This requires a constant process of self-reflection, self-assessment, and self-correction. Question your beliefs, challenge your assumptions, and be willing to admit when you are wrong. The path to self-mastery is not a straight line. It is a winding road filled with obstacles and setbacks. But with each challenge overcome, with each lesson learned, you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. Moreover, understand that setbacks are inevitable. You will stumble, you will fall, you will experience moments of weakness and doubt. This is part of the human experience. The key is not to avoid these setbacks, but to learn from them. When you falter, don't dwell on your failures. Acknowledge them, analyze them, and then move on. Use them as an opportunity to refine your strategies, to strengthen your resolve, and to deepen your commitment to your goals. The greatest warriors are not those who never fall, but those who rise again, stronger and more determined than before. The phoenix burns, then rises from the ashes. Therefore, cultivate a mindset of relentless forward momentum. Focus on progress, not perfection. Don't get bogged down in the details or paralyzed by fear of failure. Just keep moving forward one step at a time. Even small steps, taken consistently over time, will lead to significant progress. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. And with each step you take, with each obstacle you overcome, you will be strengthening your willpower, building your resilience, and transforming yourself into the person you were always meant to be. The person who commands their own destiny. Finally, consider that the very act of believing in the potential for limitless willpower is itself a form of empowerment. When you reject the limiting beliefs of others, when you refuse to accept the notion that you are somehow incapable of achieving your goals, you unlock a wellspring of inner strength that you never knew existed. The mind is a powerful tool, capable of shaping reality itself. If you believe that you are capable of anything, then you are far more likely to achieve it. Believe in your potential, embrace your challenges, and never give up on your dreams. The world belongs to those who dare to believe in the impossible. Consider the story of James Stockdale, a Navy pilot during the Vietnam War. Stockdale was captured and held as a prisoner of war for over 7 years in the infamous Hanoi Hilton, a place designed to break men. He was routinely tortured, starved, and deprived of basic human rights. He had no certainty of release, no communication with his family, and no reason to believe he would ever see home again. In that environment, the guards systematically attempted to exploit any weakness, any hint of despair, to crush the prisoner's spirits and force them to cooperate. They focused their efforts on those who displayed even a flicker of hope that they would be released soon, because those individuals were the most vulnerable to disappointment and, subsequently, compliance. Stockdale, recognizing this insidious strategy, made a conscious decision to embrace the brutal reality of his situation. He refused to allow himself to be swayed by false hope or unrealistic expectations. He understood that survival in that environment required a complete and unwavering acceptance of the worst possible outcome. He knew that the prisoners who were optimistic about being released by Christmas or some other arbitrary date were the ones who suffered the most when that hope was dashed. Their shattered expectations led to despair, and despair led to compliance. Stockdale, on the other hand, prepared himself for a long and arduous ordeal. He focused on the things he could control: his thoughts, his actions, and his adherence to his personal code of conduct. He developed a system of mental discipline that allowed him to endure the unimaginable hardships he faced. He communicated with other prisoners using a complex code of taps, providing them with encouragement and support. He established rules for maintaining hygiene and physical fitness, even in the squalid conditions of the prison. And most importantly, he refused to give in to despair. Stockdale's unwavering commitment to his principles, his brutal honesty about the reality of his situation, and his ability to maintain his mental and emotional equilibrium in the face of unimaginable adversity, is a testament to the power of willpower. He wasn't simply hoping for the best, he was preparing for the worst, and that preparation gave him the strength to endure. He understood that willpower is not about denying reality, it's about accepting it and then choosing how you will respond to it. He knew that he could not control the circumstances he was in, but he could control his reaction to those circumstances. And that control was the key to his survival. He used his mind as a weapon, a shield, and a fortress, protecting himself and his fellow prisoners from the psychological warfare waged by their captors. Stockdale's story is not just a tale of survival, it's a masterclass in mental resilience. It demonstrates the power of the human spirit to overcome even the most horrific circumstances, not through blind optimism, but through clear-eyed acceptance and unwavering commitment to one's principles. He didn't rely on wishful thinking. He relied on the strength of his mind, the discipline of his actions, and the unshakable belief in his own ability to endure. He understood that willpower is not a passive quality. It's an active force that must be cultivated and honed through constant practice. And he practiced it every single day in the face of torture, starvation, and despair. He understood that true willpower is not about avoiding pain. It's about embracing it and using it as a catalyst for growth. It's about facing your fears, confronting your weaknesses, and pushing yourself beyond your perceived limits. It's about transforming yourself into the kind of person who can withstand any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and achieve any goal. James Stockdale emerged from the Hanoi Hilton a broken man physically, but with an unbreakable spirit. His example serves as a powerful reminder that willpower is not merely a desirable trait, but a fundamental necessity for survival and success in a world that is often unpredictable and unforgiving. His story demonstrates that the ability to control your mind, to manage your emotions, and to maintain your resolve in the face of adversity is the most valuable asset you can possess. The path to self-mastery is littered with the corpses of good intentions, the shattered dreams of those who believed willpower was a gift, not a skill. They fail because they believe willpower is an inexhaustible resource, a wellspring that never runs dry. They squander it on trivial pursuits, on fleeting pleasures, on the endless distractions of modern life, until they are left with nothing when the true trials arrive. They fail because they misunderstand the nature of temptation, seeing it as an external force to be resisted, rather than an internal weakness to be conquered. They attempt to suppress their desires, to deny their urges, only to find them returning with greater intensity, overwhelming their defenses and leaving them defeated and demoralized. They fail because they lack a clear understanding of their own values, of what truly matters to them in life. They drift aimlessly, pursuing goals that are not their own, chasing after superficial rewards that offer no lasting satisfaction. They lack the inner compass that guides them through the storms of life, the unwavering conviction that sustains them when the path ahead is dark and uncertain. They fail because they are afraid of pain, of discomfort, of the sacrifices required to achieve greatness. They seek comfort and ease, avoiding challenges that test their limits, shying away from opportunities that demand their best. They remain trapped in their comfort zones, never realizing their full potential, never experiencing the transformative power of struggle. They fail because they are addicted to instant gratification, to the quick fix, to the immediate reward. They lack the patience and discipline to pursue long-term goals, to delay gratification in the service of a greater purpose. They are slaves to their impulses, driven by their desires, incapable of controlling their own actions. They fail because they are surrounded by weakness, by mediocrity, by a culture that glorifies comfort and condemns effort. They are influenced by the negativity of others, by the doubts and fears of those who have given up on their own dreams. They lack the strength to resist the pull of the crowd, to stand alone in their convictions, to pursue their own path despite the opposition. They fail because they lack a system, a framework, a methodology for cultivating willpower and building mental resilience. They rely on haphazard efforts, on sporadic bursts of motivation, without a clear plan or a consistent approach. They fail to track their progress, to analyze their failures, to learn from their mistakes. They are like sailors without a map, adrift at sea, at the mercy of the currents and the winds. They fail because they underestimate the power of the mind, the ability of thoughts and beliefs to shape reality. They succumb to negative self-talk, to limiting beliefs, to the insidious voice of doubt that whispers in their ear. They convince themselves that they are not capable of achieving their goals, that they are not strong enough to overcome their challenges, that they are destined to fail. They fail because they do not understand the importance of self-compassion, of treating themselves with kindness and understanding, especially in times of difficulty. They beat themselves up for their mistakes, dwelling on their failures, allowing negativity to consume them. They lack the resilience to bounce back from setbacks, to learn from their experiences, to keep moving forward despite the pain. They fail because they are not willing to face the truth about themselves, to confront their weaknesses, to acknowledge their flaws. They live in denial, clinging to illusions, avoiding the difficult conversations that are necessary for growth. They lack the courage to look in the mirror and see themselves as they truly are, to accept their imperfections and commit to becoming better. They fail because they do not understand that willpower is not a fixed trait, but a muscle that can be strengthened through consistent exercise. They do not challenge themselves regularly. They do not push themselves beyond their limits. They do not create opportunities to practice self-discipline. Their willpower remains weak and underdeveloped, unable to withstand the pressures of life. They fail because they do not have a compelling vision for their future, a clear understanding of what they want to achieve and why. They lack the motivation to overcome obstacles, the passion to fuel their efforts, the sense of purpose that gives meaning to their lives. They are like runners without a finish line, aimlessly circling the track without a clear destination in mind. They fail because they lack the support of a strong community, of mentors and allies who can provide guidance, encouragement, and accountability. They isolate themselves, believing that they must face their challenges alone, failing to recognize the power of collaboration and the importance of human connection. They fail because they are simply not willing to pay the price, to put in the work, to make the sacrifices required to achieve mastery. They want the results without the effort, the rewards without the risk, the glory without the pain. They are dreamers, not doers, forever stuck in the realm of potential, never realizing their full potential in the real world. The weak fail not because they are inherently flawed, but because they choose to embrace weakness, to succumb to temptation, to avoid the challenges that build character and forge resilience. They choose the easy path, the path of least resistance, the path that leads to mediocrity and regret. They fail because they lack the fundamental understanding that willpower, like any other skill, requires dedication, practice, and a willingness to confront the uncomfortable truths about themselves. Their failure is not a tragedy, but a choice. Willpower, stripped bare of romanticism, is a strategic asset. It is not a mystical force bestowed upon the chosen few, but a finite resource to be carefully managed and ruthlessly deployed. The effective operator does not rely on fleeting bursts of inspiration, but on a calculated allocation of mental energy towards predefined objectives. Each decision, each action, each resistance to temptation depletes this reservoir. Therefore, the primary strategic imperative is conservation. Identify and eliminate energy leaks, the trivial distractions, the pointless arguments, the self-defeating habits that drain your resolve without contributing to your goals. Ruthlessly prioritize your battles. Do not waste your willpower on inconsequential skirmishes. Focus your efforts on the critical fronts that will yield the greatest return on investment. This demands a cold, calculating assessment of your environment, an understanding of your own limitations, and an unwavering commitment to your long-term strategic objectives. Furthermore, true willpower is not simply about saying no to temptation. It's about engineering your environment to minimize the need for resistance in the first place. Remove the sources of temptation from your immediate surroundings. Structure your day to align with your goals, creating routines and rituals that reinforce desired behaviors. This is not a matter of moral purity, but of practical efficiency. Why exhaust your willpower constantly battling against a rigged system when you can simply dismantle the system itself? Consider the alcoholic removing all alcohol from their home, the dieter clearing their pantry of junk food. These are not acts of weakness, but demonstrations of strategic foresight. They are preemptive strikes against future temptations, conserving willpower for the battles that truly matter. Moreover, willpower is strengthened through targeted exercises. Like a muscle, it grows stronger with consistent use but atrophies with neglect. Seek out challenges that push you to your limits, that force you to confront your fears and overcome your weaknesses. Start small, gradually increasing the intensity and duration of your efforts. Do not be afraid to fail. Failure is not the opposite of success, but an essential component of it. Each time you fall, you learn something new about yourself, about your limitations, and about the strategies that work and those that don't. Embrace the pain of discipline, for it is through pain that we grow. The cold shower, the early morning run, the disciplined study session, these are not acts of self-torture, but investments in your future self. They are exercises in willpower, strengthening your mental resilience and preparing you for the inevitable challenges that life will throw your way. Understanding the psychological vulnerabilities of your opponents is also crucial. Their weaknesses are your opportunities. Identify their triggers, their temptations, their self-limiting beliefs. Exploit their vulnerabilities to gain a strategic advantage. This is not about malice, but about maximizing your chances of success. Consider the negotiator who studies their opponent's body language, the chess player who anticipates their opponent's moves, the entrepreneur who understands their customers' needs. They are all employing the same principle, leveraging the psychological weaknesses of others to achieve their own objectives. This requires empathy, but not sympathy, You must be able to understand your opponent's perspective without allowing their emotions to cloud your judgment. You must remain detached, objective, and focused on your strategic goals. Finally, remember that willpower is not a static attribute but a dynamic process. It fluctuates over time, influenced by a multitude of factors, including your physical health, your emotional state, and your social environment. Be mindful of these fluctuations and adjust your strategies accordingly. When your willpower is low, focus on simple, manageable tasks. Avoid situations that require a high degree of self-control. Seek out support from trusted allies. When your willpower is high, seize the opportunity to tackle your most challenging goals. Push yourself beyond your comfort zone and expand your capabilities. Cultivate a mindset of continuous improvement, constantly seeking new ways to optimize your performance and enhance your mental resilience. Willpower is not a destination, but a journey, a relentless pursuit of self-mastery, a strategic imperative for anyone seeking to dominate their own life and achieve their full potential. The rise and fall of empires serves as a stark testament to the primacy of willpower. Consider the Roman Empire, a civilization built upon the foundation of relentless discipline and unwavering resolve. Their legions, renowned for their unparalleled effectiveness, were not simply equipped with superior weapons or tactics. Their true strength lay in their unwavering commitment to duty, their ability to endure hardship, and their ironclad self-control in the face of fear and adversity. This collective willpower, ingrained through rigorous training and a shared sense of purpose, allowed them to conquer vast territories, overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and establish a dominion that lasted for centuries. However, the seeds of their decline were sown not by external forces alone, but by the erosion of their internal fortitude. As wealth and luxury became increasingly prevalent, discipline waned, and self-indulgence took root. The legions, once symbols of unyielding strength, became riddled with corruption and complacency. The Senate, once a bastion of wisdom and integrity, descended into factionalism and self-serving ambition. The collective willpower that had propelled the empire to greatness gradually dissipated, leaving it vulnerable to internal strife and external aggression. The same pattern can be observed throughout history. The Mongol hordes, driven by their fierce determination and unwavering loyalty to Genghis Khan, swept across Asia and Europe, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Their success was not simply due to their superior horsemanship or archery skills, but to their unyielding willpower, their ability to endure extreme conditions, and their ruthless efficiency in achieving their objectives. Conversely, the great naval powers of the past, such as Spain and Portugal, initially fueled by their ambition and the courage of their explorers, eventually succumbed to internal decadence and a decline in their national willpower. They grew complacent, relying on their past glories rather than constantly striving for improvement. Their focus shifted from exploration and innovation to the accumulation of wealth and power, leading to a loss of their competitive edge and their eventual eclipse by more disciplined and determined rivals. War, in its most brutal and demanding form, provides an even more acute illustration of the decisive role of willpower. Victory is rarely determined solely by superior technology or numerical advantage. It is ultimately the side that possesses the greater reserves of mental and emotional fortitude that prevails. Consider the Battle of Stalingrad, a pivotal turning point in World War II. The German forces, initially confident in their superior firepower and tactical prowess, were gradually worn down by the relentless resistance of the Soviet defenders. The Soviets, facing overwhelming odds and unimaginable suffering, refused to yield. Their willpower, fueled by a burning desire to defend their homeland, enabled them to endure the unimaginable horrors of urban warfare, to withstand constant bombardment, and to ultimately break the back of the German offensive. Similarly, the Vietnam War provides a compelling example of how willpower can overcome material disadvantage. The Viet Cong, lacking the sophisticated weaponry and resources of the American military, relied on their unwavering commitment to their cause, their intimate knowledge of the terrain, and their ability to sustain a protracted guerrilla war. Their willpower, fueled by a deep sense of nationalism and a willingness to sacrifice everything for their independence, ultimately proved decisive in forcing the withdrawal of American forces. In both cases, the victor was not necessarily the side with the greater resources or the more advanced technology, but the side with the greater willpower, the greater capacity to endure hardship, and the greater determination to achieve their objectives. These historical examples underscore a fundamental truth: that willpower is not merely a desirable attribute, but a critical determinant of success in any endeavor, whether it be building an empire, winning a war, or achieving personal mastery. It is the bedrock upon which all other skills and abilities are built. Without it, even the most talented individuals are likely to falter in the face of adversity. With it, even the most ordinary individuals can achieve extraordinary feats. Willpower, at its core, is the executive function of the mind, the conductor of your cognitive orchestra. It's the ability to consciously override impulses, delay gratification, and persevere through discomfort in pursuit of a long-term goal. Think of it as the mental muscle that allows you to choose the harder right over the easier wrong, to resist the siren song of instant pleasure for the promise of future reward. This capacity for self-regulation is not some innate, fixed trait. It's a skill that can be developed and strengthened through consistent practice, much like any other physical or mental ability. However, unlike physical muscles, willpower doesn't simply grow stronger with repeated use. It also requires careful management and strategic deployment. Each act of willpower, each conscious decision to resist temptation or overcome an obstacle, draws upon a finite pool of mental resources. This pool, often referred to as ego depletion, can be depleted through overuse, leaving you feeling mentally fatigued and more susceptible to impulsive behavior. This is why you might find it easier to stick to your diet in the morning when your willpower is fresh, but struggle to resist cravings in the evening after a long day of making decisions. Understanding the limitations of willpower is crucial for building a sustainable system of self-mastery. It's not about white-knuckling your way through every challenge, but about strategically conserving your mental energy and deploying it where it's needed most. This involves creating environments that support your goals, minimizing exposure to temptations, and developing routines and habits that automate desired behaviors. For example, if you're trying to quit smoking, you might avoid situations where you're likely to be offered a cigarette, such as going to bars or spending time with friends who smoke. You might also develop alternative coping mechanisms for dealing with cravings, such as chewing gum or practicing deep breathing exercises. By proactively managing your environment and developing alternative behaviors, you can reduce the demands on your willpower and increase your chances of success. Furthermore, willpower is not solely a product of conscious effort. It's also deeply influenced by your beliefs and expectations. If you believe that you're capable of achieving your goals, you're more likely to persevere through challenges and maintain your motivation. This is because your beliefs shape your interpretation of events, influencing how you respond to setbacks and obstacles. If you view a setback as a sign of failure, you're more likely to give up. But if you view it as a learning opportunity, you're more likely to persist and try again. Cultivating a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, is essential for building resilience and maximizing your willpower. This involves challenging limiting beliefs, embracing challenges, and learning from your mistakes. It also involves focusing on the process of improvement rather than solely on the outcome, celebrating small victories along the way, and maintaining a positive attitude even in the face of adversity. Moreover, willpower is not an isolated faculty. It's interconnected with other aspects of your mental and emotional well-being. Stress, anxiety, and depression can all deplete your willpower reserves, making it harder to resist temptations and achieve your goals. Taking care of your physical and mental health is therefore crucial for maximizing your willpower. This includes getting enough sleep, eating a healthy diet, exercising regularly, and practicing stress-reducing techniques such as meditation or yoga. It also involves cultivating positive relationships, seeking support when you need it, and engaging in activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. By addressing the underlying factors that impact your willpower, you can create a stronger foundation for self-mastery and achieve lasting success. The interplay between self-belief, emotional regulation, and strategic environment design becomes the architecture of an unbreakable will. Willpower, distilled to its brutal essence, is the refusal to yield. It is the conscious override of primal instinct, the defiance of immediate gratification for the sake of long-term dominance. This isn't some abstract concept to be debated in philosophical circles. It's a weapon forged in the crucible of self-inflicted hardship, honed by relentless repetition, and wielded with unwavering precision. Your capacity for willpower is directly proportional to your willingness to confront your own weaknesses, to dissect your deepest insecurities, and to systematically dismantle the narratives that hold you captive. Most people mistake willpower for a finite resource, a tank that empties with each act of resistance. They treat it like a muscle that fatigues under strain. This is a fundamental error. Willpower, properly understood, is a skill. It's a neurological pathway that strengthens with each deliberate, disciplined choice. It's the mental calluses you develop from repeatedly pushing beyond your perceived limits. The more you demand of yourself, the more you become capable of demanding. The more you resist temptation, the easier it becomes to resist. It's a feedback loop of escalating self-control. But this escalation demands a strategic approach. You cannot simply brute force your way to unwavering willpower. That is a path to burnout and eventual surrender. True mastery lies in understanding the nuances of your own psychology, in identifying the triggers that undermine your resolve, and in constructing systems to neutralize them. This requires a ruthless self-assessment, a willingness to confront the inconvenient truths about your own behavior. What are your weaknesses? What situations consistently lead to failure? What excuses do you tell yourself to justify your lack of discipline? The answers to these questions are the keys to unlocking your untapped potential. Once you understand your vulnerabilities, you can begin to engineer your environment to mitigate their influence. Eliminate distractions, create structure, and surround yourself with influences that reinforce your commitment to excellence. This is not about avoiding challenges. It's about strategically positioning yourself to win the battles that matter most. It's about creating a landscape where willpower is not a constant struggle, but a natural expression of your disciplined lifestyle. Furthermore, understand that willpower isn't solely about resisting negative impulses. It's equally about compelling yourself to take action when your instincts tell you to retreat. It's about forcing yourself to confront uncomfortable situations, to pursue difficult goals, and to embrace the pain of growth. This requires a fundamental shift in mindset. You must learn to associate pain with progress and comfort with stagnation. You must cultivate a deep-seated aversion to mediocrity and a burning desire to become the absolute best version of yourself. This is not a passive aspiration. It's an active pursuit that demands constant vigilance and unwavering commitment. You must be willing to push yourself beyond your limits, to challenge your assumptions, and to continuously refine your strategies. The path to unwavering willpower is not paved with ease and comfort. It's forged in the fires of self-discipline, tempered by the challenges of life, and hardened by the unwavering pursuit of excellence. The mind is a battlefield. Every moment is a contest between your higher self and your baser instincts. Every decision is a potential victory or a devastating defeat. The outcome of this internal war will determine the trajectory of your life. Will you succumb to the temptations of instant gratification, allowing your impulses to dictate your actions? Or will you seize control of your mind, harnessing the power of willpower to shape your destiny? The choice is yours. but choose wisely because the consequences are eternal. Understand that this is not a game. It's a fight for your survival, a battle for your very soul. The enemy is not some external force. It's the weakness within you, the self-doubt that whispers in your ear, the fear that paralyzes your actions. To conquer this enemy, you must become a warrior. You must cultivate the mental fortitude to withstand any challenge, the discipline to resist any temptation, and the unwavering resolve to achieve your goals. This is the essence of willpower, the unwavering commitment to